ever thought, gosh, I could not stand that person when I first met them. But, okay, it's not done, but thanks for being so bold. But after hearing them and talking to them and going, they're not so bad. Most of us in here probably can raise our hands now. Yeah. That's a true story, right? So what happened in that exchange, what happened in that first act of judgment through that empathy was a story was told. And there is significance in story, the art of story, the telling of story, narrative. There's beauty in it and there's power in it. Each of us hold a very special key to truth and freedom in our society that no one else has, and that's our own personal story. We walk a line, we live a life that no one else experiences. We have a story that contributes to a bigger part of our world that no one else can share but ourselves. And that's powerful and beautiful. And so I want to talk about the significance and power of story today. Like I said, we each have our own, but what's more exciting is we're all connected to each other's story. We all play a part in this one story of the human life. When I was doing work with LA Voice and Prop 47, the first thing we did was we sat with one another and told our story. Why did we do that? It broke down boundaries that we may have put up or society may have put up on us, and it allowed us to see one another for who we were. It allowed a human aspect to come out in our community organizing. And then we realized we're in this together, we're living this life together. So story's powerful. The other day a coworker came into our office and he was telling us about programs he didn't really like, and then he said, but I like Homeboy. And we were like, why? And I said, I get to be a person. And so I asked him to come in later and I said, what did you mean by that? I wanted to hear a story. What did you mean by I get to be a person? And we talked for a while and he shared his wisdom. And he said, he gets to be heard and he gets to be seen without judgment. But not only that, he gets to hear. So there's freedom in telling our story, but there's also something freeing about hearing someone else's and finding that connection with one another. And Wally talked about that, and our friends from home talked about that too. There's connection in hearing each other's stories. Mother Teresa said, there's no peace because we've forgotten we belong to one another. And I think what she meant was we belong to one another's stories. So there's not only power and freedom in that, but there's responsibility, and that's why you share your stories on our tours, or you share stories with visitors, or even when that piano was up there, when you guys would be working, but really sharing stories, right? It's like, we're sharing stories, and then we have a responsibility to those stories. You hear something and you don't think it's right, what do we do about that? How do we create a better ending for our story as a humankind, as a human race? So we're doing that all around Homeboy, and I think it's beautiful and powerful, and there's a lot of significance in it. You're not just giving a tour, you're not just having a conversation, you're sharing your story, and you're hearing, and that's powerful. So what comes after that? So congratulations on doing something that's creating social change, and keep doing it, and keep asking yourself, how do we work together to create a better story for each other? Thank you.